Okay, so hello, beautiful people. So this is Donna from Love Consciousness, and I was feeling called to come on and talk a little bit into some of the work that I'm doing, and in particular, the Krystic Containers, in which I have been, very actively creating over the last 12 months. Now, you may have noticed that we have been posting on the Love Consciousness group and also on our YouTube channel some of these containers, these healing sessions. And so I understand that maybe there are those of you out there that don't fully understand what these containers are and what we're doing. And so again, this isn't planned, this recording, so I'm just going to try to, in the most simplistic way I can, is just try to bring a little bit more insight into why these containers are so powerful, why we're creating sessions in this way, and what you will be receiving really, and the way that you will be receiving them by connecting to these sessions that we are offering. And that'll just give you a little bit more insight into what it is that you're participating in, which is really, really important. So these containers can be created for a multitude of purposes, okay? And if you do have a look on our YouTube channel, we have begun to post containers. I work alongside my beautiful friend James Hay to create a lot of these containers, but I'm also working with other beautiful beings too. And what we're doing in essence is the container is being created with and through us, energetically, so to speak, with an intention. And so they can be created for a multitude of purposes. And the idea is that when we create these containers, we're creating them from a space where we have a little bit more inner or understanding of how healing, activations, healing, and everything else, how it really works. And so we can utilize these spaces to provide any individuals that want to weave into these containers not only a really, really powerful healing session, but really deep and really safe. And now let me explain what I mean by that. So first of all, I think it's important to understand, okay, that we are multidimensional. Okay, we are multidimensional beings, and we, within our human being, we have 12 dimensions of consciousness available to us. Now, we have largely been operating within a three-dimensional consciousness. And so what's happening, and this is very much part of what you might know as the awakening, the embodiment of higher levels of our awareness, of our consciousness. And so this is important, and this is really utilized within these containers, because once you understand that you're not just stationed here and now, in this moment as this human being, you are stationed throughout all 12 dimensions. And the 12 dimensions correlate with the system in which this universe is built. It's an architecture. Okay, and so that architecture has 12 dimensions within it. Within that architecture, we are located throughout that architecture. Our consciousness is created throughout that architecture. And let's just say we try to heal just from this level. We may get some release or release. But once you fully understand that a lot of the patterns and a lot of the healing and a lot of the fractures and the disconnect and everything else isn't just located within this space, because we are multidimensional and we are, stationed throughout all 12 dimensions. And so one of the things that we are doing when you come into the chambers that we are creating is that we are going and creating these spaces from a place of no time, and instructing that we are connecting to all aspects of our being throughout all times and places and spaces that we reside. And so by working in this way, not only does it help us connect to the higher vibrational frequencies that are there, but there's a kind of a disconnect between the human aspect and those higher levels of awareness. The higher levels of awareness haven't really gone anywhere, they've always been there, but it's the human being, the human body that has been closed down to a large degree of being able to actually transduce and move these higher frequencies and channel these higher frequencies that we are through our being. You know, we are consciousness, that's what we are, and these bodies are like a vehicle to channel these the consciousness that we are. And you can imagine if we've only been working within a dimension of the first three levels of consciousness, and we have available to us up to 12 dimensions of consciousness, how limited we have been in our experience. So the end game, really, in a way, is to embody all 12 dimensions that you are, you know, consciousness that you have available to you within this system, okay? And so that's the end game. But there's a massive, massive, massive process that we have to go through. Everything is consciousness. So, you know, again, just getting your head round, everything is consciousness. It doesn't matter whether we see it as solid, like these human bodies, or whether it is a stream or a field of something that we might describe as, you know, an energy. It's all made of the same stuff. It's all consciousness. And we have been engaging in a system that's inverted. And so we have consciously fed into that creation. So aspects of our consciousness are connected into timelines, for example, that really aren't serving us. We're feeding into a creation that's not serving us individually, and it's not serving us as a whole. It's not serving humanity. And so we've got this big transformational process to move through, and we have been moving through it. You know, you will have been moving through it, whether you're aware of moving through it or not. But if you can consciously get on board, you can really help that process along. You know, you can learn how you can best participate in that process, which will make it less painful for you in a lot of ways. It'll make it easier for you. And so when we're working in these containers, we have this understanding that we can connect to our entire consciousness through all places and spaces, through all dimensions. And what that means is the coding, the instruction sets, the intentions that are placed within the chamber can reach all aspects of your being, because that is what we want to really embody and reconnect to, all aspects of our being. Now, if we don't find a way of connecting to all aspects of our being, then the healing that is taking place may be limited. And so these containers, and what I'm being guided is these containers are just so important in this process for us to really, really move through this evolution and this deeper embodiment of the higher states of awareness and the higher states of consciousness that you are. And they make it really, really potent, for one. It makes it completely possible to do the work that we're trying to do. And it also makes it much safer, you know, for us to transduce those high frequencies that our human body, the cells within our human body is not really held So there's like an oscillation rate of our cells, and it's speeding up and speeding up and speeding up, and it's speeding up at the rate of what we can individually hold in the higher frequencies. So when we're in these spaces, we are able to stabilize in our own energy fields as this oscillation, of the cells speeds up to allow us to take in more of the higher frequencies. So that's really, really important. Let's say I created a container. So I made one today with my friend James, and we were focusing on closing down lower timelines. And so we've created that container out of time. And so whenever you connect into that space, you connect into it from your now time. And when you connect into it and you listen to the instruction sets, what you're doing is you're actually weaving your consciousness into that creation. And in weaving your consciousness into that creation, you are part of that creation. And for example, and when we ask and we invite all of our highest aspects into the space, all of our guides, all of our helpers, your guides, your higher consciousness, your helpers will come into that space. So the spaces become even more potent because actually they're unity chambers. We are coming together to create a field of consciousness with the higher aspects of our being, that make it really, really powerful, our guides, our ascension teams, biological support teams, all of these teams, our ancestors, they're all there to support us. And the more advanced, evolved aspects of our consciousness hold technologies that will assist us in moving through this process in a way that makes it, like I said, much more stable for us. These energies, these high frequency energies are coming into the earth, so you can't avoid, there's no avoiding this process. But if we can support this process, then that makes this process just much smoother. Plus, it will allow you to begin to understand and understand what's actually happening here, help you to remember who and what you are and what you're capable of. And that you hold all these amazing gifts and technologies too, once you begin to tap in to those higher vibrational frequencies. So we weave the container together. So as soon as you engage in that container, you are coming into that creation. All of your guides, all of your helpers with your very unique keys, codes, and technologies will be brought into that space. And so, for example, the timeline clearing today, the instructions were to begin to close down those lower timelines, the timelines that were still connected, connected outside of the unified field of love. So this is all part of the process of evolution for us, in order for us to fully embody the 12-dimensional consciousness that we are, that we have available to us. We want to reconnect to the unified field of one, the unified field of love. And we have largely been operating outside of that. That's why we have felt separate. That's why we have felt alone, isolated. That's why we have felt that we need to seek things from outside of us, when actually what we're beginning to do is transition into a remembering and a knowing that we are the creators, and it's happening from the inside out. So connecting to the unified field of love, again, is part of the end game, fully connecting all that you are, all of your consciousness, everything that you are, consciousness-wise, through all times, places and spaces that you reside, bringing it all back into that unified field of love and that unified field of one, fully embodying all that you are, so fully anchoring into the physical. All of those channels, all of those lines, clearing and healing it all, so that you can really come in. What you are is consciousness, and you're coming in to this physical body. And so again, this is really the design of these spaces and these containers, and it's understanding that. What's also really amazing about these containers is that they will only work in a way that's just right for you. So that is particularly the way that I create them. They will always work for you. So you will always be guided by your highest self. So let's say, for example, you did connect up to the timeline chamber that we created this morning. The instructions are very clear that you will be guided by your highest self. And in being guided by your highest self, you will receive the clearing, the dismantling, the reintegration of your consciousness that is operating outside of the sacred law of one back into wholeness at a rate that is just right for you. Because we need to come into a knowing of what this is and what we have been participating in and what we have been agreeing to. So there's like a learning process that's happening at the same time, and it couldn't all just dismantle in one go for you because it would be too much of a shock for the human body. So again, it's about allowing the body to adjust to the higher frequencies at a pace that's just right for you. It's about dismantling the energetic patterns that you've created that don't serve you at a rate that's just right for you. Releasing the patterns that are stored within the physical body at a rate that's just right for you. And so when you engage in these spaces, if you participate in these spaces between 4 and 7 times, then that process is underway for you. It's underway. You've made that command, you've taken part in that space for that to become your creation, but it will only happen at a pace that's just right for you. So for someone that may have already done, say, quite a lot of work of releasing and you know, realizations and coming into that alignment, collapsing or closing down all those timelines might only take them a few weeks, a few months. For someone right at the start of the journey, it might take 3 years, but the process is underway. And so because, you know, I have this awareness that not many people really understand how these Krystic containers work and the way that we create them, you know, I just want to give you a little bit more insight so that you know what you're connecting to, and that's really, really important. And, you know, trusting that everything that we create, we're creating with purity of intent. We're creating from a place of being of service to others. You know, our intention is to reconnect fully and unify, you know, to that unified field of love, the sacred law of one, to retrieve all of the aspects of our consciousness that's still connected into these inverted systems that don't serve us and don't serve the rest of humanity. And healing those fractures, bringing them back in. We're becoming alchemists, we're alchemizing the energy back into wholeness. And these containers allow you to do that. Okay. So I just really, really wanted to jump on and share that. And it might be nice sometime for me to do a live on this because I'd really like to be able to answer, you know, any questions that you have, because I really, 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 you know, my one of my purposes, I guess, is what's been given to me is that this is one of my roles, is to create these spaces to really allow this to happen. And so I really want individuals to feel that they can come into these spaces and really surrender and trust in these spaces and really, really receive this very, very, very deep, multidimensional level of healing that is created within these spaces. So I hope that that little explanation has made it a little bit clearer for you. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask and I will answer. So whatever you're doing, wherever you are, thank you for engaging and have a beautiful day. Bye bye for now.